Well, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Shelley Plum. I am a life strategy coach, a podiatric physician, and founder of a company that I hold near and dear to my heart. That is Plum Talk. For those of you not familiar, Plum Talk is a full-service production company. I'll tell you, we were in the throes of doing our taxes the other day, and I had so many numbers that were just swimming through my brain. One number in particular stood out to me. It was the number 86,400. Can anybody out there guess what 86,400 represents? It is the number of seconds we have in the day. When I saw that number, it hit me. I'm like, wow, it's a little empowering in a way. We have 86,400 seconds to have an impact. We have that amount of seconds in a day to make a difference, to feel good. We all want to feel good. As living, breathing human beings, that's what we want. We want to feel good. I'll tell you, there was a time in my life, and I'll share it with you, that I know that I did not feel good. And that is when I was dating back in high school. If you know me, back in high school, I was awkward. Or I felt awkward. I was shy, and I had two major concerns. I was concerned about my teeth because they were crooked. And I was also concerned, and you're going to laugh at this, but I was concerned about my chest. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to know about your chest. But I'll tell you, I was flat as a pancake. I was a late bloomer. My friends know this, is I once went an entire day in high school with my sports bra on backwards, and I didn't even know it until somebody pointed it out in gym. So highly embarrassing. You know, at that time in my life, metaphorically speaking, I felt like I was perched on a threshold, and I needed that positive push to get me going in the right direction. It actually reminds me of a quote that I would love to share with you. It goes something like this. Few things in the world are more powerful than a positive push, a smile, a word of optimism and hope, a you can do it when things are tough. Wow, that quote really hits home for me. At that time in my life, I remember going to the door to meet my date and having my brother in the sidelines chuckling and giggling and telling me that I look like a drooling monkey with a speech impediment. It was awful. But you know what? One negative comment was all it took to make me feel insecure and less than positive about myself. It was not a good feeling. Now, if we trans that into our adult life, negativity, the way I see it, negativity is like that big, heavy, grimy door that slams in our face at the most inopportune times. So I want you to think about it. Really think about it. What would it take to ruin your day? I know what it would take to ruin my day. You know, one nasty comment from a coworker, or one judgmental stare from a boss that is overwhelmed, or one glare from a loved one that is disgruntled in some way. That's what it would take to ruin my day. You know, negativity is really a problem. And that's what we do here at Plum Talk, is we research the resources. And what we found is that negativity impacts us as individuals, but it also impacts us as society. We see it in the media on a daily basis. Now, from a personal standpoint, let's think about that. It affects, and what we have found is it affects our emotions, and it also affects us physically in ways we don't realize. You know, the way I see it, when I think of negativity and emotions, I think of heart. You know, realistically speaking, our heart is about as big around as our fist. Metaphorically speaking, I know people in my life that have hearts that are as big, spiritual hearts that are as big as the room that I'm standing in right now. But in either case, you know, your real heart or your spiritual heart, there's only so much room that exists within it. And if we fill that with negativity, there's no way that the positive can get in there. That we have to have a way of getting rid of that negativity. So, emotionally speaking, what we have found is it can affect us in really extraordinary ways. So let's talk about how negativity affects us from an emotional standpoint. Looking into it, I was surprised that negativity most definitely affects our emotions. In fact, Michigan State University did a study, and what they studied is people in the workforce. They found that people with a negative mindset were found to be more mentally exhausted, they were defensive, and here's the kicker, their productivity came down. That actually hit me hard. You know why? Is as a busy person in today's society, I can't afford for my productivity to come down. So negativity affects our emotions, which can affect our productivity. So flipping it over, negativity has an effect on us from a physical standpoint. In fact, Oprah recently had an article on Oprah.com that showed or linked negativity to increased cortisol levels in our body, which indirectly decreases our immune system, so we get sick more often. Psychosomatic.org, I believe it was .org, had an article that, and this was interesting to me, that they studied AIDS patients, and they had a group of AIDS patients that they encouraged to get the negativity out of their brain and down onto paper. They encouraged them to journal, and they did that, I believe, for 30 minutes every day, and the results were exciting. Their viral levels actually went down, and the cells that help to fight the disease went up. So it was amazing. There was also a study, I'm excited, on breast cancer, where they were talking to breast cancer patients, and those women and men who were encouraged to talk about their condition and again get that negativity out of their head and out, talk to somebody about it, they had far less symptoms from their disease. So it definitely, from a personal standpoint, affects us on an emotional and a physical level. Really, negativity is everywhere. It affects us all. It affects us as a society. We see it in the media. It really is a vicious cycle. You think about it. We're at home, we're exposed to negativity, family, friends, even ourselves, and we take that negativity into our external environment, to work, to school, everywhere that we go. And then we turn around and we take the negativity from the environment, say our bosses and our colleagues, and again, ourselves, and we bring that back home. It's not fair. It really is not fair, but it really, truly is a real cycle. Negativity, and I think we'll all agree, negativity is everywhere. It is who we're surrounded by. It is what we're surrounded by. And more importantly, it's where we are in our minds, where we are in our life. Negativity, bottom line, has a disastrous effect. What does it do? The way I think about it, it penetrates our barrier, it infects our minds, and it spreads through us like a disease. And you know what? It wreaks twofold havoc. It wreaks havoc on us personally, but it also wreaks havoc on us on our businesses professionally. It prevents us from moving forward and getting to the next level. Negativity has really become an epidemic, and you'll hear me talk about that a lot. An epidemic. It's a funny word, epidemic. An epidemic is defined as something that affects a disproportionately large number of people in a community or population over the same period of time. There's so many epidemics that we've had in our history, if you think about it. One that sticks in my mind is the AIDS epidemic. There is so many statistics out there. I was looking into it, and everything from HIV was found to be the cause of AIDS in 1984. Since that time, over 35 million people have been infected with the disease, and since that time, 25 million have actually died from the disease, or over 25 million. Now, if we flip that around and compare and contrast that to negativity, we see some real distinct similarities. I'm going to pause and tell you, I did a little experiment with regards to negativity being an epidemic. And I set out in one day, or actually 1 week, to study 50 people. And what I did was simply to talk to them. And my goal was to talk to them for 5 minutes and see how many people had something negative or something to complain about without presenting a constructive solution within that 5 minutes. How many people, all of you out there, how many people percentage-wise would you say were negative within that first 5 minutes? It astounded me, actually. It was a whopping 90%. Granted, that's not an official study, but that was shocking to me. I mean, what that tells me is negativity is rampant in society. It most definitely could be equated to an epidemic that undoubtedly has been around since humans first took their steps on Earth and affecting a disproportionately large number of people, and maybe not killing us physically, maybe indirectly, but not physically. It kills something far more important, in my opinion. It kills our hopes. It kills our dreams. It kills our ambition. And that's important to notice. You see, the way I see it, negativity really is a disease. Just like AIDS is a disease. It's disease to disease. The difference is AIDS is caused by a virus, and negativity, quite frankly, is spread by a human. You think that's drastic? Let's think about it this way. Negativity breeds more negativity, and what that does is it has a disastrous effect on our self-esteem. No one wins that way. So we have to have a way of dealing with negativity. We have to break the bonds of negativity and silence the negative. So how do we deal effectively with negativity? A very wise person in my life once said, if you don't like it, change it. You ever wonder why negativity is so popular? I'm firmly convinced that negativity is popular because it is very social, it's edgy, and it is addictive. To effectively deal with negativity, we have got to change our way of thinking. Now, Plum Talk, the whole Plum Talk team, we have done a lot of research on negativity, and we have narrowed it down to 3 very important factors that help us and help our guests at Plum Talk to combat negativity. Those factors are recognize, attract, and control. Let me explain them. Recognize what? Recognize negativity triggers. We all have them. I have mine, you have yours, negativity triggers. What I mean by that is when we feel that negativity brewing in our hearts, we take it and bring it out here. We externalize it. Only then can we turn it into a positive. I'll give you an example of that. The other morning, I was on the couch enjoying my morning coffee with my puppies, and my bigger dog had a bone, and he was gnawing on that bone, and there was something about his teeth on the bone that was like fingernails on a chalkboard. Oh, that was my negativity trigger. So I took that and I brought it out here, and what I did is I took the bone from him very lightly, I put it on the floor, and I scooped him up and gave him all kinds of hugs and kisses. Now, I didn't know if that had an effect, but the very next morning he came to the couch with his bone while I was drinking my coffee. He put it on the floor, jumped up, and immediately jumped into my lap. So there you go, turning negative into a positive. Instead of that negativity trigger affecting me, I was giving my puppy all kinds of love, hugs, and kisses. So it was definitely a positive. The second factor is attract. Attract what? Attract more of the positive. When I walked into this building today, I was attracted to the people that had the most brilliant smiles. I'm sure you can relate to that. When I see people with a brilliant smile or being positive, I want to be around that. I want to get near that. I want to be that. So attract. Be positive attracts more positives. There is real truth in like attracts like, and more moths are attracted to a flame. We have to be positive to attract more positivity. The third factor is to control. Control what? Control the one thing that we truly have control over, and that is ourselves. Now, I have some Plum Talk guests that tell me when they hear that, they say, you know what, I don't have control. I don't have control over my life. Well, I don't necessarily agree with that because we do have control over certain things. First of all, we have control over who we surround ourselves with. We must surround ourselves with people who are positive. I mean, think about it. Who makes your heart sing? Who is your cheerleader in life? And even who is the person that tells it to you straight? Sometimes when you don't want to hear it, gives you that all-important constructive criticism. Control over who we surround ourselves with. Another aspect of control is surrounding ourselves. We have control over what resources we surround ourselves with. The important resources are different for different individuals. Plum Talk is a positive resource. You know, for me personally, I love Eckhart Tolle and Deepak Chopra. Those are my positive resources. We individually have to reach out for those resources. We have control over that. Very, very important. So recognize, attract, and control. Very important factors in turning the negative into a positive. Positive versus negative. We definitely have a choice on how it affects us. I will tell you personally that the power of positive has made a significant difference in my life. I have gone from that drooling monkey with a speech impediment concerned about her teeth and her chest to, I'll say, a more sophisticated monkey, one that is more concerned about her varicose veins and whether her Spanx fit properly. But, you know, on a serious note, we have a choice on how negativity affects us. We can resist the urge to let it penetrate our barriers, infect our minds, spread through our bodies like a disease. We have control over that. You see, the power of positive truly is the key. It's a small key. It may be a very small key, but boy, I'll tell you, when it's turned right, it can open even the heaviest, dirtiest, creakiest door. It's important because you know what? On the other side of that door is something incredibly beautiful. I think that's why 86,400 seconds made such an impact when I heard it. You know why? It's because it was a reminder to me, a reminder to make every second in my life count, a reminder to use as many of those seconds as I possibly can to make a positive difference. Why, you know, when we're perched on that threshold I talked about earlier, when we talk negative, we slip backwards, in my opinion. We slip backwards into a place where we're complaining and we always want more. On the other hand, when we're perched on that threshold and we use that key and walk through that door and talk positive, the world is our oyster. We always have more. So I'm asking you, what do you want? Do you want to slip backwards, talk negative, and always want more? Or do you want to jump forward and use that key, talk positive, and have the world be your oyster and always have more? There is no question for me. I'm going to use my key. I'm going to walk through that door full steam ahead. There is no doubt. You see, together we can use that small key. We can open that door and we can start a new epidemic, an epidemic that is propagated by the power of positive.